Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and today I'm here with a couple of alternates for the May 2021 Paper Pumpkin Kit Batter Up. So we're going to start with our paper trimmer and this card base that was in the kit, and we're going to cut it in half. So I'm going to line up my edge at the 4 1/4 mark and go ahead and trim this, and then I'm going to stick this in at not quite half. I want to bisect the circle here, but it's below center, so you'll get two different size pieces, and this looks like it goes in at 3 1/16. So I'm just going to check my track and pull this out just a little bit more, and I'll check the edge of this for you. Yes, right at 3 1/16. And there we go. Put that piece aside, put the other piece aside, and put my trimmer out of the way. Let's just hang on to this a minute, and I want to do some stamping. I've already used one of my layering circle dies to cut a piece of basic white. You could also cut that out of the white piece that was on the back of the card base that we just cut apart. Okay, and I'm inking my sentiment in Night of Navy, which is the ink spot that came in this month's kit. And I'm just letting this sit on my circle for a moment so that the ink transfers. Let's close up that ink pad. And I also cut a piece of Night of Navy with one of the layering circle dies. And about to be silly here and stick my dimensionals together rather than to the back of my circle. And let's go ahead and layer these pieces up and center this. Okay, so now I've got a piece of basic white that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to add this piece from the card front from the kit. And just in case I wasn't right at the edge, let's line this up and make sure that I'm right up to the edge on the bottom and on this side. Oops, I'm a little over, and of course with our multi-purpose glue we've got a moment or two to wiggle, and then I'll take my paper snips and cut off this piece that's a little bit of overhang. And I prefer to trim up after the fact than trim before and find out that I'm just a smidge short. Okay. Next, we're going to add this to a Night of Navy layer that's cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And that'll give this just a little bit of pop here. Okay, and then before we go any further, I want to take some of the basic the white twine that was in your kit and wrap that around a couple of times. I'm going to go ahead and tie it but not finish it until I've added my You're the Best layer on here. So let me grab my dimensionals again. And the reason I'm waiting is because I want to see where that my bow will end up. because I want it right out here on beside this. So let's see if we can get, for some reason my brain just isn't willing to think about doing a double right now, which is what I had planned to tie right here. So hang on just a minute. I'm determined to get my brain to cooperate. So let's do this back and forth here. Or better yet, on the days your brain doesn't cooperate, just cut and do a cheater bow. So I'm going to cut and do a couple little loops like this. And then we're just going to use our bow that we're going to tie here to hold that in, and will look extra fluffy. Okay, and just give that a little bit of an adjustment so that all of the loops are fairly similar in size. There we go. And then let's grab a mini glue dot. Where's my take your pick tool? I'm going to use my tool to stick this right underneath and hold that in place. Okay, and then we'll trim this up. I am going to leave the longer tail, but not as long as I had it. Okay, so our bow is tied, but we still need a card base. And so I've got an 1/8 inch strip here that I cut off my Night of Navy layer, and we're going to use that as an accent on the inside of the card. So let's put it down first. The basic white base is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. Oops, didn't stick that over quite far enough, and it's not sliding. So it's cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2, and I'm just determined not to get this centered today. Okay, and now let's add our adhesive on the back here. And center this. Okay, and there's our first alternate for the May 2021 kit. If you haven't yet subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, there's still time to subscribe for the June 2021 kit, Expressions in Ink. You can find a link in the description below. And hold on a moment, and I'll clean up and be back with another alternate. And for the second card, you can either start with the back from our first card, or cut a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/2. That's a little different measurement than a layer for a card normally is. And we've got the bat and Coastal Cabana ink. And I'm going to zoom in so that maybe I can bring my head down a little and you all don't have to see my head. So we're going to add this first bat, and then I'm going to add a bat over here on this other side. And then we're going to use that center there and line up the bottom on the center each time. And I'm going to stamp just a couple more times, and then I'll speed this up. But you can see that I'm coming back to that center spot and trying to eyeball the spacing. Okay, and let's see whether we're going to get one. We're going to get, there we go. All right, so there is our arc. Whoop, don't close up my ink. We're going to need that. And then next I have a label cut with the Tasteful Labels dies, and I guess we should zoom back out. So this is what that set of dies looks like. You can find them in the annual catalog or in the Stampin' Up! Store. And then I have my sentiment, and I've added a piece of washi down here at the bottom. And we're just going to ink up and then pull this washi off and give that a quick huff and come in here and eyeball center. And I'm just holding it so the ink can transfer. Okay. And then let's put our ink out of the way and start and put our card together. So I've got a piece of Coastal Cabana that is 5.5 by 4 1/8, and we're going to mat these two pieces together. And we'll get a little bit of color at the top here, since I came all the way down to the bottom with my stamping. I'm not going to add color again at the bottom. Let's grab my dimensionals and go ahead and add our label with our sentiment. And this is going to sit right down in here. Okay, and then I've got a piece of basic white that's 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And I am going to add dimensionals behind this piece. So that we get a little bit of lift along the edge. And we've got just narrow spacing at the top and the bottom. And then let's embellish. We're going to use some rhinestones. These are inexpensive and a great addition to your stamping card making supplies. And let's add a couple more down here on the sentiment. And just a nice clean card. You're the greatest. So there are my first two alternatives for the May 2021 Batter Up Paper Pumpkin. You can click the thumbs up and share this with your card making friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell, and you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. And you can see all the alternates for past paper pumpkins in my paper pumpkin playlist. If you're in the United States, please shop for some of your Stampin' Up! Supplies in my store. And of course, have a great day. Bye.